Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what ASTEYA, the non-stealing wisdom, the plagiarism and copyright issues. ASTEYA, artificial intelligence, Google, other thing, basically understood definition is like this. ASTEYA is a Sanskrit word meaning non-stealing and is one of the 5 yamas or ethical principles in yoga. Beyond material theft, it extends to not taking what has not been freely given, such as credit, attention, or affection. It encompasses a deeper practice of contentment and gratitude for what you have. I think it's brilliant, in my opinion. I cannot find fault with this. But we will try to understand the whole thing, other dimensions, so that we can understand these points very, very clearly. Holy Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, 48th verse is very dear to me because it centers about Yoga Sutra or Yoga Sadhana or Yoga process. Patanjali talked about Ashtanga Yoga, 8 stages of Yogasana, Yama, Niyam, Yogasana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. 8 are absolutely essential part of Akhand Yoga, which I talk about it. But I also talk about Kundalini Yoga, Antar Yoga to make into 10 parts and then go beyond to Devyank level. So it is extends from Ved, Upanishads to Bhagavad Gita to Patanjali Yoga Sutra and also Satchakra Nirupana to Akhand Sutra by and large, and keeping all the things which I have learned in the light of mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, medical sciences and in spiritual science is I am talking about. So let's talk about Akhand Yoga. Patanjali talks about Chit Vritti Nirod stuff, we are going to talk about it. But I talk about eliminate all the fluctuations of the mind and then let the indwelling soul rise and let do work everything conscientiously, truthfully, honestly. And that is Akhand Yoga. It is stopping at the mind and letting Antaratma do all the work honestly and in tune with the universal consciousness, and that is Vedanta all about. And that was Dvait to Advait to Tret Pravidya by and large. Impeccable wisdom is the truthful, integrated, divine as a nature will arise only when you are in tune with Akhand Yoga, integrated yoga by and large, where Jivatma, Antaratma and Brahman, all the three are together as one unit, and to understand A to Z of the human body, solar system, spiral galaxy, Milky Way and the entire universe as such. Everything becomes one part of it. You go beyond Ved, Upanishad, everything to a level which has never happened in the history of mankind till 2015. It's a very comprehensive approach, and that it. Now come to the Patanjali. So Yogas Chit Vritti Nirod is a statement which is Maharishi Patanjali talks about it in Yoga Sutra. That means yoga is the cessation of the mind fluctuation. That is essence. Only when that happens, the true nature comes up. When the true nature comes up, and that is pragyan, that is antaratma, and then things would happen. And the whole process of Ashtanga Yoga is only up to bring the mind under control and let antaratma lead from thereafter. So it's very clear respect of Advait philosophy. From Dvait to Advait is very clear in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, I understand. Now this is the concept of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. In Yama, the first virtues, there are 5 virtues, and this is what Ahimsa, Satya, Asatya, these are 3, and then Brahmacharya and Apigraha. These are the 5 things we are going to talk. 2 I have already spoken, 3rd I am talking about it, 2 more we will talk, then we will go to the Niyam thereafter. And the same yoga code or concept of yamas is this Brahm, Ahimsa, Satya, Astya, Brahmacharya and Apigraha. And descriptions have been given. Ahimsa is non-violence, Satya is truth, Asatya is not stealing, Brahmacharya is moderation, whatever you call it, and non-possessiveness to the things which you have. You come with nothing, you go with nothing. You work along with universal consciousness as well as Antaratma, enjoy and be not bonded with anything, and that is the non-alignment. Now come to the question of the first chapter. Patanjali talks about ahimsa first, but Shibhushan Sharma in Akhand Yoga talks of Satyam first. And that is also based on the statement of Maharishi Yajnavalkya when he written Astoma Satgamya. Please lead me from untruth to truth. Unless until you move from untruth to the truth, the journey will not arise. Ahimsa comes later. But Satya is more, and that is what is seen everywhere. The ultimate consciousness is only truth, truth and truth. And that is what is going to win, and that is Satyamev Jayate, and that is Om. From that angle, Om, this was particular symbol was made by me in 1974, 51 years ago, and talks about Mandukya Upanishad, which is the smallest Upanishad, the best Upanishad I can think of. And then truth. So from that point, truth has to be, and everything, the light of truth only we can move on. Everything follows only after truth. Now come to the second say ahimsa, which was the first in Patanjali, but I put as a second one. And ahimsa is paramo dharma. This is where the religion comes to play a role. And in the process, I find Jainism stands out in ahimsa completely, followed by Hinduism, followed by Buddhism. And then everybody has to do, because the whole concept is come what may, you should not harm anybody. You should not do even one thing against anybody. Where strict is with Jainism is very, very strict. Little liberal is Hinduism, and little more liberal is Buddhism. Others, I don't think they follow ahimsa to the extent I can think of. Now come to the question of the third ASTEYA. Is a non-stealing concept is there is no doubt about it. What is not yours, you should never claim for. What you have worked, earned, another thing, is yours. Anything which is free, which somebody gives it to you, is not yours. You can only have a sense of gratitude for they having done, and you got to do it back to them in the gratitude or in the help you can do at your own given moment of time. There are people who are very poor, economically weak section, otherwise they might need certain sections, but these people, when they get it, they should remember that they have to have a sense of gratitude for the rest of their life, because without that help from somebody else cannot go further to make them become perfect. Though sense of gratitude is very clear in non-stealing, and once that is done, we all need some help from it. That's it. But sense of gratitude will make sure that your parents, your brothers, elders, society, everybody is remembered and appreciated for their spontaneous help to you. From that, non-stealing is very clear. Even that credit, you got to give it back. You got to remember it. You got to make it clear. This has been done. Hiding and not showing to other thing is not at all essential. Now come to the question, Asteya, this particular concept is that you stand only on your feet. Satya is stealing, Asatya is not stealing. As long everything is balanced within you, and I think that is very, very important, and this particular yogasana, the particular concept, shows how you can have the balance within yourself and not stealing and doing things on your own, and that's it. Now another concept of another particular person, a practice of not taking what is not freely given. First, if somebody gives it freely, take it and then accept it, then have a sense of gratitude. There is no doubt. There is nothing wrong being poor and then getting things done. But I would prefer that no one who is a karmyogi does action conscientiously, works for money, doesn't have to take anything free at all. So taking free from anybody is not my concept. But if there is no other go in that particular stage, take it. But then give it back at the earliest, at least in the form of gratitude, and make it people that these are the people who came to your rescue when you needed it very badly. There are so many people in the world, they get everything, they take it for granted. And they don't even bother to tell, they don't have a sense of gratitude, they take it as if their birthright to take it free. You are born with it. And that attitude of the people, by and large, in my opinion, will not let you become yogi at all. Now come to the question, another non-stealing, asteya, another concept by another particular person. In this particular concept, the word used is non-covetousness, or the ability to resist a desire for what which does not belong to you. You should not possess something which is not yours. If you have worked, earned and done, you have a right. If you have not worked, it's been given to you, it's come to this, never take a credit that is mine. That is very clear in non-covetousness. And I think the word is very clear. If you have the example of that, then you will lead a perfectly life without stealing and without taking, and then do things only for what you have worked for and nothing other than that. And in this particular concept, I would talk about plagiarism as the similarity index. That means even when you do research, we have been made to understand that up to 10, 15, 20% of things taken from other is eligible, more than that is not eligible. Let me put it on record to say 2001 my PhD was done and it was given to the Madras University, and after evaluation it was found to be highly commendable, you perfect from every angle. And even after 20 years later, when I put that for testing the similarity index and plagiarism, and very happy to say the result was 0, and nobody would accept that someone PhD and result is 0 as far as plagiarism is concerned, as far as similarity is concerned, is the reality. Because the fact is, I have not used any reference from anybody. It was only based on my personal experience of yogasana within my body, and I tried to evaluate things objectively on my subjective feeling with the equipment which was highly perfect, with the power spectrum analysis, the EEG, and also to do work which can be done by anybody, tested by anybody, but in the process only thing was original, nothing was copied from anything. Only references which were given were the old books from Ved, Upanishads and Satchakra Nirupana and some other descriptions of that, but not copy of somebody else. That exactly my point is. When you can do the research based on your own self, and I am very glad to say I am the first person in the history of mankind who can produce 8 Hz alpha frequency through the brain with eyes open, eye consciousness anywhere and everywhere till date, and I have represented that everywhere. No wonder that is something unique. In the process, I also realize that outer 3 layers of neocortex, the functions are not known to any neuroscientist. There are a lot of gray areas in mathematics, physics, chemistry, medical science, biology, in the science which we study, and I am trying to rectify that with my experience and then giving the result without copying anybody else, original as experience, then evaluated properly and then presented with honestly, truthfully, without anything in there. I think that should be the research thing, and this is what I am talking about as a non-covetousness is concerned. Now come to the question, Asteya, another concept. The third, the yama is Asteya, and it's of non-stealing, not taking what does not belong to you, and I make it very, very clear. Never take anything which is not there. For that matter, I have gone on record, even the property which my parents left for me, I have never claimed. I have never claimed anything from any source, including anybody and everybody. Let's just be blanket. And whatever I think is only through my hard work, through my savings, without taking even thing. Even for that matter, all my charitable trusts only learn to give and forget, but never get even one thing. I do not take even 1 paisa in any of my charitable trusts for any help, and that is true. If you want to do a charity, do out of your own earning. Don't make somebody give you and then use it for yourself and give it. That is NGO's concept is also defective. That is as good as stealing, and I really mean that. Now come to the question of another concept, non-stealing, where stealing refers to taking something physical or non-physical through your thought, words or action from others or from yours. This is very clear. Now comes question. You take credit mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, otherwise, anything which is not your own experience, you cannot. I see so many people who translate Vedas, Upanishads, other books, and then they take their own word as a credit for their original idea, when actually it's the idea of somebody else. You are only putting into new words. Even those new words, thoughts and ideas is as good as stealing. That's exactly my point is. Now come to the question, another concept. The word ASTEYA means no theft. Honesty is a part of it. Yes, there is more. No theft means a mind that is not jealous, not contemplative. When we are looking at others' treasure, we miss our own treasure. Where we try to have more, we miss that which we absolutely have. So here one thing is very, very clear. You should not be jealous of somebody. You should not be competitive with somebody. You should only take credit for something which you have experienced and is perfect and can rectify all the problems of the world. That is Patanjali is talking about. That is what Akhand Yoga is talking about. If it is not going to make things perfect, you cultivate honestly, truth, honesty, then that is as good as stealing itself. And all the books which I read, which have influenced me otherwise, I do feel they're all books, ancient wisdom, new words, and giving it to find and take credit as its original idea. And that is also defective, and I see that in Nobel laureates and leading workers and other things. They are just selling things which has already been there. Even that kind of thing I do not believe is to be taken credit for. Now, Asteya asks that we take only what is offered and use only what we need. That's again a point. What people give, take it, don't steal it. Then take only what is required, don't take more than that. You don't have to accumulate more than necessary. It should be need based to the extent which is required. Don't overeat, don't do things, don't possess, and don't take credit for that. That is a concept which is very, very clear in my mind, that whatever I have, I take it, I use it, and offer the other things to others when it's not used. And that is Tyag, Vairag and Sannyas by and large, because they all are interconnected things to produce a result which is free from any ambiguity, any defect or any deficiency at any stage of level of consciousness, thoughts or process. So need based, offered, and only required. Take it to the extent required. More than that, don't take it. Don't carry the burden on your head or the mind or anywhere. That exactly is my point on this particular concept. Now come to be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking in the whole world belongs to you, only then you become abundant. As an individual, I do believe I am here as a Lokpalan, as a custodian guardian. Entire world is mine. Everything is used. I am using everything from the nature the way it is given. Whether it's earth, whether it's atmosphere, whether it's universe, whether it's the light, food, everything is given in abundance to us. And I take it, I use it, and then try to multiply. That Bhumi also gets to plant kingdom, flourishes very well. Everybody uses it. We take thing and we replace back, and that is Bhumi Puja or rain as such. I think from that angle, our thing should be very clear. We are taking from nature. Let's enjoy. Nature is giving everything abundance, but it should be need based, not greed based. Remain the jealousy, remain the greed, everything, and you move on. Then you are absolutely on path to lead a perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy life. Otherwise, you are going to suffer from lacking as well as our abundance, both are problematic. Having things which are not required is also a problem. Having no things which are required is also a problem. And that balance is required to go on to move to the next level of higher consciousness. Now come to the question another. As I told you, Asteya is a life of abundance by divine grace. And ever since my childhood, I feel universe is giving everything free. Air is free, water is free, everything is there. But unfortunately, we are putting price. But once they give it and use it and then share with everybody and go and to multiply things in such a way that everybody gets to get their share. And in that particular process, there will not be need for somebody to store, because everything fresh can be used and done. And let everybody share, let everybody work together. Maybe that is what Hitopadesh is. Vidya dadati vinyam vinyatyati patratam patratam cha dhanam cha dharam cha sukham. If you want the sukh for everybody, you should have perfect education. That will give you humility. All the people should work together as a unit, and that will give abundance of money, abundance of righteousness, abundance of sukh for everybody. So that is the knowledge which I am talking about. That comes only when we all work as unit towards, without stealing other as a thing, because we are instrument of the divine consciousness. We are not doing anything individually to do. We are part of the instrument designed for that. Let's work with that. Now, this particular shlok again is about same thing. Asteya means not stealing. Prasthana is based on grounded and serve all level and consciousness. That means everything should be worked together as universal consciousness, and this is from Patanjali's second chapter 37. And that is Asteya's description by and large. You should work in a very comprehensive thing and do things systematically for everybody and be grounded in self. And once you're grounded in self, only then you come to a higher and higher level. Person who is only spiritual side, not in tune with materialism, also is suffering, because spirituality alone gives you one version. Materialism gives you another version. But bring both together as a balance, as a spiritual science, is the truth by and large, which is very clearly here. You be grounded in the Bhumi as well Antariksh and make understand both together. Only then you can be Akhand Yogi, otherwise not at all possible. Now, I say, are you stealing from yourself? That's another very beautiful statement. Many people they think they are smart, they are cheating others. But they forget, nobody can cheat others, you are only cheating yourself. Because anything which is defective, your Atma, your Antaratma, your swelling soul, indwelling soul, will not let you feel happy. I have not seen till date a person who has harmed and done things taken from others happy at all. They are the people who are under alcohol, non-vegetarian food, drugs and other things, because they can't manage. Because soul themselves will keep telling them, this is not yours, this is yours. So in other words, when you are stealing yourself, because you have created difference between you and your Antaratma. Your Antaratma is going to make you feel sick in the process. And that exactly is my point. You are not cheating others, you are only cheating yourself, because once you get into the habit, then you are not in the conscious mind to be a perfection by and large. So truthfully, not stealing and doing, you actually going with Antaratma in a much better way, integrated otherwise. Now this is the balance which I am talking about. And once you have the balance, it controls both lower world, higher world, every world, and that balance is required without stealing, contributing and give and give and forget is something very required. But get and forget is definitely not. So sense of gratitude, sense of department, sense of union, sense of humility, sense of integration is all comes to the play in the past in Asteya one and large. Now come to is how is Asteya defined in yoga ethics? And I make one thing very clear. Person who does not have ethical values can never be happy come what may be. If he wants to be healthy, wealthy, wise and happy, person has to have ethics, and for ethic it should be good for everybody. You cannot do anything in the world for which somebody else is going to suffer. When somebody is going to suffer, finally you are going to suffer, because you will not get credit from those people whom you have cheated. That's point. So person who cheats even once would never be helped in come where, because your inner consciousness is defective. That exactly my point is. So ethics is a very, very important part of ASTEYA. If you don't have ethics, you can never be a conscientious, honest, integrated, truthful person at all. You can never be a yogi. Now, does ASTEYA mean more than physical non-stealing? I make one thing very clear. Physical stealing itself is defective. Anyone who's taking from something without the person's concurrence is definitely not allowed. But it's not only physical, it is also emotional violence is also bad. Even religious violence, mental violence, spiritual violence, anything which is imposed on somebody else is as good as stealing itself. And that is a point which has made me clear. I only learn to give and forgive and leave it at that. Now come to the question another. Are you stealing for yourself? As I told you, is the same thing which I told you earlier, and same thing is in different words put together. We are only cheating ourselves, we are not cheating somebody else. Now come to the Akhand Yoga, which is my concept. Truth, honesty and integrity is absolutely essential from yoga, and there are no free lunches for anybody. Earn with perfect thoughts and actions. Do not take anything from anybody for free. Have a great sense of gratitude for every help. Never take credit for any copycat research at all. And put it together, it is somebody else's. It's an idea, but you contribute yourself perfection which goes to the impeccable wisdom. That is my point. If it's not leading towards impeccable wisdom, that kind of research in maths, physics, chemistry, biology and medical sciences is okay creating a problem. There is research going on for hundreds and thousands of years. But in the process, you have not given the world the perfection which is required. So you are still finding fault with defect, giving something which somebody else is going to find fault. That is not the research which I am talking about. If you have been conscientious yogi person, then you should know the perfection from A to Z by and large, and finally give the world which nobody can find fault with. And that should be the research. That is Akhand Yoga. And in this process, this is particular Akhand Pravidya, the absolute wisdom, and that is Devyank, the divine design of nature, and this is disintegration to integration, Khando Ma Akhandigamya. At the same time, this is the divine mathematics of 22 by 21 to the power of this, with the perfect designs that is created, formed, evolved by a large entire universe is with Divyank. And I am glad I recognized, conceived and revealed Divyank for the first time in the history of mankind in 2015 only. And for that I have been showing the applied part in every stage. Only then there is a perfection. That is the kind of research this is. Once you take that credit, it's original. You will never have plagiarism. You will never have anything else. I think that way Divyank, this symbol which produces human body's perfection, solar system perfection, spiral galaxy perfection, Milky Ways and the universe. The truth is what is, not stealing, not misleading, another thing. Having done that, I think this is enough for me. Now coming to this stage, let me not get into that. I think I have talked enough to say that stealing of anything which is not your original concept, not your something which is perfect from A to Z. You have no right to mislead anyone in the world with something which is defective, defective, defective. That's what meaning. Even that giving defective knowledge is equivalent to stealing only. I think let's take it that way and done with it. So thank you very much.